Hey Tracy.
Hey there. How are you, Sasha?
Tracy, how are you? Yeah, I
I'm
like your
good.
shirt. It's cool.
Thank you. Got my
Yeah.
spring clothes on now. It's getting
I
cold
see.
where
So
you
you
are.
going? I know. I'm like, I'm not a winter fan, eh? Mm.
I'm not either. I'm so glad it's getting nice again.
Yeah, no. I feel like I should go to the northern hemisphere now, just to have an endless summer.
I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah. Ah,
Wouldn't
sorry,
that
I
be
missed Monday. It
nice?
was yeah, yeah. Sorry, I missed Monday's outreach. It was a public holiday. Yeah, I actually
Oh, no
forgot.
worries. No worries.
Yeah. Did a CDF governing board meeting today, which was cool.
Yes.
Um, they were talking about it was nice for us who are new, especially to find out how what do we actually do and how do we actually engage and what's the overall grand purpose, right, of creating unity amongst the projects, right? Which was nice
Yeah.
to hear. Yeah. And then because I sent them an update to say that Ortelius and Tecton are joining forces to try and integrate, right? And they mentioned that they put it, which was really cool. Yeah.
Good. I think that I think it will be very good for Ortelius, and it'll be good to have that kind of exposure, you know,
Yeah.
we'll have better exposure for what we're doing in terms of vulnerabilities than anybody else,
Yeah. Exactly. There's some,
especially
there's such,
ones that are
yeah.
live.
Yeah, and there's
Not
such
a,
great products
yeah.
within CDF. Even if it is small, I like it that it's small because it's kind of a close-knit community. You don't feel like you're lost in this ocean, right?
Well, to be honest, a lot of those big projects are just so focused on the big companies, right?
Yeah. And what about the other guys? Be nice. Yeah. Well, hopefully we can do some more stuff. I've got
Yeah,
Tecton up and
totally,
running
no
now.
problem.
I just got to configure the pipelines now to start working.
Cool. So, how are you enjoying being part of those governing board calls?
Yeah, I like it. I'm learning a lot, right? Especially around the governing side. I'm not very strong in that. It's not
Well,
really.
that's why
I'm not really.
that's why I thought it was a good spot for you because of what
Yeah.
better place to learn, right?
I know. It's like cool stuff. Like, how do you actually get people to invest in your foundation?
Yeah,
Like, hey,
yeah,
we're this foundation. Can you give us some money? It
right.
doesn't work like that.
Well, we have to show value.
Yeah, like it's really interesting. Yeah, so I'm learning a lot.
Good. I'm glad. I'm so glad.
Mm, That's great, man. It's really cool.
Okay, I know I should have the notes somewhere for this, and usually we rely on Andrea to
Oh, I
post.
have them.
Oh,
I've
you
got
do?
them. I can share them. Yeah. Let
Yeah,
me.
if you could just post a link to it in the
Yes.
chat, I'll click the link.
Be happy to. And I'll share them in a second here. How are you, Mark?
I'm fine, Tracy. How about you?
I'm good.
Looking forward to Open Source Summit North America coming to Denver in June, and
Yeah, isn't that handy?
it is very handy.
You just have a quick drive. You don't even need to get a hotel, really.
Oh, no, no. In fact, it would be far less efficient. It's only an hour's drive, right?
Yeah.
So drive an
Yeah.
hour each way. There are people who commute to Denver every day from where I live. So in my
Right.
case, no, that's very easy.
No, I know. I when it was like, yay! When I saw it was there, it was like, well, that works for Mark and Steve and I.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna drive up from Santa Fe.
Oh, nice. Right. So that's
Yeah.
what, 7 or 8 hours?
5.
Not even that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not bad. Okay.
No, it's a real easy drive. Okay. All right, here is the agenda for today. Mark is here. Sasha is here.
Jason's here.
Jason's here. Oops, how do I do that? Steve's here.
And Ben Powell's here as well. Great, Ben. Glad
Yep.
to have you here.
Hello,
Thank
hello.
you. Thank you for letting me know that. That's, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have quorum. So we're waiting for some other folks. Oops.
Wonder if we like should turn those into like checkboxes. Might be a little bit easier.
What those?
Good
Yeah,
idea.
rather than like highlighting and changing the color, just like a checkbox might be easier to do.
Good idea. I like that.
Ditto.
How do I add that?
Well, it looks like you just
Later.
volunteered yourself there.
Oh, did I?
Great. I'm not-
There's
Yeah,
a-
the document
leaving.
has a heading at the top that is the prototype, and if you just adjust it right there.
Gotcha.
that's-
Okay, I'll
if
go
you
ahead and
adjust
do
the
that.
template, that'd
Go
be
for
great.
it.
Thanks very much, Ben. Just
Yep.
do it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's even a checkbox item, I think, up there instead of a bulleted list that should make it very easy. It's a format.
Okay, that was our major technical hurdle for the TOC.
Now, sarcasm.
All right. Well, we will open the meeting. If we're not in the habit of tracking it, but it is 10:05. So, Andrea is out today. He will be back next month. He apologizes for missing April, but he's had some things get in the way. First item is the awards for top contributors ends tomorrow. The nomination ends tomorrow. Roxanne wanted to make sure that we are aware that. Oh, let me get my. Sorry, I'm practically sitting on my. That's my thing I do. I forget to put my microphone on. The awards, the nominations close tomorrow. So if you have somebody you'd like to nominate, please do. You can do that through the GitHub. There's issues out there to nominate. Project updates. I understand everybody is in except for Mark.
That's correct. Mark's the guilty party. Sorry about that. I started the writing on it Monday, but Mark will finish it and get it submitted. Get it done. That's right. Thank you.
ASAP. Okay.
End of this
Uh,
week. Yeah.
Any particular any topics that anybody would like to cover today? You know, I usually have something, but I've been busy, so I don't have a lot. But I do have something I would like to chat about around CD events. But is there any topics that?
So I wanted to hear how the cybersecurity SIG is going, but I see it's already on the agenda. So that was a point of interest for me. And the other topics on the agenda, let's just go through them, I think.
Yeah, the one thing that's like we can add the topic here then. I'll put Ortelius implementation, starting with Tecton. So I don't think we have any particular key topics that we've been following, you know, we're so spoiled with Andrea doing this. He just has this as a kind of a open bracket here for us to cover anything that we may be, I think, continuing on terms of topics. So we'll just go ahead and I don't think there are any action items for today. There are no votes. There's no voting that would be required, and I would probably postpone it anyway until he comes back. TOC roadmap and work items. What was that? Oh, I don't know if we've gone through that this much. I forgot we even had this. So we'll just blow by that for now. Now where did my doc go? There we go. All right, so I guess I'll just jump down to things that are the SIG updates. The CI/CD cybersecurity has continues to gain traction. Roxanne has been working on putting together its own web page on the CD Foundation's page. So the team worked on that the last meeting. I have encouraged them to get more focused on getting the work at hand done, because I would like to have most of this done before June, but that's probably not going to happen because it's only, we only have 2 months. But we should be able to get enough done that we could publish it and start talking about it at CDCon at the end of June. So we have broken up. What we did was we spent some time trying to figure out how to break up these categories. So if you look now, there are separate markdown files for each of these areas, for each of these sections. And we've created pull requests or issues for these areas so people can start assigning themselves to these areas of focus and not step on each other. So the structure of the document has been completed. I think everybody's happy with it. We are working on getting that web page up, and I'm pushing to get some of these issues completed before the end of June, even if they're not perfect. It would be great to have them out there so other people can start making comments on it. So for example, the code, this area I think is the one that has the most work done, and we still have not gone through it as a group to confirm that all of these tools should be in this section, producing well-secured software. I believe it is, but that's the kind of work that yet needs to be done for the document. So it's making good progress, and we're getting there. And that's all I got. I was at Space Force during the last meeting, and kind of a fun topic. We have those Ortelius t-shirts. It's got this big green alien on it. And I took the CD Foundation, didn't want to store them anymore. So they sent me all of the Ortelius t-shirts, which was about 300 of them in 3 big boxes, which I don't have room for. So I'm like, how am I going to get rid of these? So I decided to take them to Space Force. One of the vendors there allowed me to hang out with them in their booth and gave me a little spot. I brought the t-shirts in, and I had 1 duffel bag full, and I was putting them out on the counter, and I was wearing one, and they started flying off the counter. Within an hour, I had given away all 300 of the t-shirts. We had created a massive line down one of the halls to the point that other vendors were asking us what the heck we were giving away. And on the last night that I was there at about 4:30, somebody comes running up to the booth and says, I saw a couple of people wearing these green t-shirts, these green alien t-shirts last night at the bar. Do you still have any? So I think Ortelius found its peeps in space. They really do like that look. And we are working on trying to bring the Ortelius product to the DoD. We've made some progress on it. There are 2 pipelines that the DoD uses. One's called Platform One, and the other's called Space Camp, and that's the Space Force's CI/CD pipeline. And so we're looking at trying to get some integration done in those areas. So that's an update for Ortelius and for the SIG, the CI/CD SIG.
So the Space Force conference, was that in Colorado Springs?
It was at the Broadmoor. So can you imagine people running around the bar at the Broadmoor? I know.
Excellent. Well
There,
done.
there's what, 14,000 people there?
About
Right.
13,000 people. And for those of you who don't know who the Broadmoor is, it's like a 5-star resort that famous people and politicians go to stay at. And it's very, very conservative. You know, everybody there was in full brass that was in the military. You wore, you know, suits were kind of the requirement. And then we had the Ortelius t-shirt show up. So I could have been more pleased with its acceptance, but it doesn't surprise me.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations, both on distributing and on to that organization, to that group. Great choice.
Yeah,
Well done.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I wish I had a CD Foundation logo on the t-shirt. That would have been awesome. Okay, is there any other continuing on our agenda here? I've covered CD best practices. I gave you an update on Ortelius. Any other updates on and statuses on projects?
So I guess let me offer one in terms of sponsorships, because the Jenkins project has been worried about sponsorships because we're so dependent on cloud credits from the sponsors, and we're actively planning to meet with sponsors at CDCon in June to be sure that they know how vitally dependent we are on their sponsorships. Right now, we've taken short-term actions to spread costs differently to give us as much lifetime for the existing sponsorships as we can. But we'll be talking further with the sponsoring vendors to try to obtain a renewal of their sponsorships. Yeah, and we're deeply grateful to them, really deeply grateful. We've successfully reduced our total spend year over year for the last 2 years, and that's great. Just we still need their sponsorship.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Is DDC involved in those conversations at
Oh,
all?
very much so.
That's why
Absolutely.
I was
Yeah.
assuming so.
Dadisi and other members of the board, Michelle Martineau, yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we'll meet up at CDCon in June. Dadisi will be there, I'll be there, Basil Crow will be there. People from Microsoft, from AWS will all be there. So it's the right place for this discussion, those kind of discussions.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a problem for all of us, I think, right now. You know, getting more interest in money through the CD Foundation is pretty important. And one of my goals was if we could get that, you know, the CI/CD guide, the cybersecurity guide, kind of off the ground, that we could actually add a place for commercial tools as sponsors
Ah,
to help
interesting.
bring in some funding. Because
Mhm.
right now we're only allowing open source tools to be listed in the guides.
Mm,
But there's no reason why we couldn't have a little, you know, here's other commercial sponsored tools and, you know, charge them for that.
right.
Yeah, you know, if it's something that people use, you know, charging them, you know, $5,000 a year to have a sponsor link in there is not, it may not be out of the question. So I'm constantly trying to think of ways for the CD Foundation to you know, have more money coming into their coffers.
Yep. Thank you.
Tracy, do you remember you found another Kubernetes platform that was like half the cost of AWS and Google?
Oh my goodness, I did, and I sent you an email on it. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I looked at it and it got put on my back burner, and that's why it does look like it's the cost wise it looks good to be about half of what we're working with on GKE. I'll hunt it down and for our next meeting.
Okay, yeah, it'd be worth at least having a note that it's out there.
And I also have a lot, like a lot of experience with AWS. I used to work at AWS and I know a lot of like saving tricks. So, um, if you guys like tell me like what you guys are doing with GKE, I can probably give like an estimate on how cheaply I can make it on AWS. And because one of the biggest things about AWS that a lot of people don't know about is spot instances. And they are incredibly cheap. Like, like a normal instance is, hundreds, thousands of dollars, right? But a spot instance is like $5, $10. It's like really, really cheap. Um, but they work a little bit differently, but it really depends on your use case. So that's why, if you explain like what that use case is, it might fit this and we might be able to save money that way as well.
Thanks. Yeah, the Jenkins project has been delighted with our use of spot instances, both on Azure and on AWS. But there are specific use cases where they work much better and other use cases not so much. Yep.
Exactly.
So the next one is we talked about exposing vulnerabilities across the CD Foundation projects, and using Artilius to show that data gathering. There has been some work started on Tecton. Sasha, you want to give any kind of update on that?
All I can say is that I have spoken to Andrea, and he said he's super keen to work with me to integrate Artilius into Tecton. And I've got as far as getting it up and running on my 6-node Pi cluster.
Okay.
So, as soon as Andrea's got some time, we're going to connect. So I'll just follow up with him actually. Yeah.
Well, you've got the hard part done. If you got it running locally, you do need to have the pipeline running though somewhere.
Yeah,
Right.
I've got the dashboard, everything working out. Now I've just got to do the actual configurations to start actually using it, like for a demo application. I'll take one of the Artilius applications that we were using with Jenkins. Yeah.
So what that means is that, let me see if I can bring up. Tecton would be showing up in here. So here's Artilius, for example. This is our most recent version. If we open that up, it should show what vulnerabilities might be new. So Tecton would have a version, and we'd be tracking the different Tecton versions. And I'm not sure why it's not opening. Is that my internet connection or? Oh, snap. Hey, Steve, do you think you can bring that up? Well, here's our components, but it's not bringing up my application. All right. So once it's worked out, there we go. All right. So what will happen is Tecton will be showing a Tecton aggregated software bill of material report, and we'll be showing the vulnerabilities that are coming through right now. Like we have no critical or high-risk vulnerabilities for this version of Ortelius. And I think the interesting part is I keep looking at this. Here are these open source tools, and notice none of them have an open SSF scorecard value. Oh, somebody did one. Oh, man, we got to talk about that. This tool actually went out and did an open SSF scorecard. Here's some more showing up. Yay. I'm so happy because these are all dynamic, so it gets reevaluated. The UUID's got a 7.8, which is pretty good. So yeah, I'm so happy to start seeing these numbers show up because for a long time I wasn't seeing them. And this is a way to really expose it. So anyway, that's what Tecton will have. We'd like to do one for Jenkins. So it's, constantly being shown. All right, let's go back to the doc. All right, so is there any other topics before I start the one that I have been floating in my mind for a while?
No other
So
topics for me.
I haven't had a chance to talk with Ben and Andrea about it, but I'm just going to throw it out to this group as a whole. CD events is one of my favorite projects, and it still frustrates me that it hasn't gotten the traction that it has, because I really believe that disrupting the pipeline and how we manage plugins and the event processor was the right direction. So the Ortelius team is starting to work on building an LLM. I would like to call it a DevOps LLM, but it's probably not accurate. And using model context protocol APIs to gather data for the LLM across the whole DevOps pipeline. This can give us a lot of insights and potentially the ability to do some more interesting predictions, as well as do updates and use AI to auto-generate POM files and Docker files that have pin dependencies. So that's what we're looking at. Has the CD events team, have you guys talked at all about using AI to generate these standard pipelines, standard like Jenkins files, Jenkins workflow files?
So
And it feels like we have some data to do that, because you have you have the standards.
right. So in terms of AI, we've discussed it, but we haven't actually went into any details. It's a pretty hot topic right now, so it does get brought up every so often. Actually, me and Dedisi talked a little bit about it as well. So we didn't go into specifics. We were just wondering, what problems can AI solve within CD events, for example. But I also wanted to mention that me and the DC are also planning on releasing probably a major change, like to CD, well, not like a major change to CD events, but in addition to CD events, which is going to kind of change kind of the outlook of it. Well, not real, I don't know how to word it properly, but make interoperability easier to use. So that's kind of like the whole goal that me and DC have been working these last like month and a half, I would say. So I think that should help. And with our talk, because we're giving a talk also at CDCon in June, which is going to highlight this very idea that we're going to propose to the CD events, and this is where AI actually got brought up. And I like I said, I think it's still a little early in terms of talking about generating the pipelines, but I'm not saying that it's not impossible. But I think just right now where we're at in terms of CD events, I don't know what information AI will need to generate this, but we do have a lot of information, so I would say it's possible, but it's just getting there. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that idea. But I think it's definitely something we should explore in the future.
Okay, So Utkar Sharma is sort of leading that LLM and MCP discussion for Ortelius. I think that it might be when they get farther along, it might be good to connect with that to have the CD events, maybe bring Utkarsh in and hear what he has to say about it. Also, the Ortelius' Secure Chain Con is May 16th. And John Willis, who I like to call him the AI professor, he is going to do a talk. I'm not, John, I'm not sure. I have the recording tomorrow, so we'll find out what it ends up being, me interviewing him or him doing a talk. But he has been doing a lot of kind of digging and understanding of DevOps and AI, and that's what the talk's going to be on. So he may be another person that we want to leverage because this is stuff that he thinks about all the time, even though we don't. So that may be another resource for us. But I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing that because I keep thinking of it all the time. I feel like these are areas that if we can highlight and we can become leaders in, it's sort of like the CI/CD cybersecurity SIG, that it's going to bring more focus into the CD Foundation. And we need to get that focus back so we get companies who want to come back to the CD Foundation. We lost a lot to this OpenSSF, and that may stay that way. We may lose more, I don't know, but yeah, those are my thoughts. If we can bring more interest around AI and cybersecurity in the CD pipeline, it's going to be helpful for us overall.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I'll take a look at some of the working groups, SIG groups that Ortelius has, and maybe I can hop in one of them and maybe we can, just like introduce myself and, and start that ball, getting that ball rolling. So, but yeah, definitely, I'll definitely start thinking about that. But yeah, I agree. We definitely need to get CD events more out in the forefront. I've also talked with Didisi, because I told them my main worry right now with doing things. I mean, CDCon is still great, but it's kind of like an echo chamber, right? Because like everyone already knows about CD events in that conference specifically. So I told them, I'm gonna try to submit a few other talks to different conferences. I don't know if it'll be accepted, but I'll just keep trying. And then, if I'm lucky to get one, that I think that's gonna, I'll constitute that as a win. But I think we need to kind of start there as well because we need to start getting more ears on the CD event. So I think that's kind of like what I'm going to focus on this year as well.
I agree completely. We definitely need more people to see that project. It's I think it's a very important project for the future of CD pipelines. I mean, CD pipelines, they should have been evolving more and adding more and more security tooling, but it just takes so long. Create the plugins, or add the CLI to the workflow. You got to somehow fix it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that was all I had for today, and I'm happy that Andrea will be back because he does a much better job of this.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.